Welcome back, YouTube. Yes, you are all very welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today is the second day of my Gain and Phase program, and it is upper day. So in an upper program, we try to train as many of the upper body muscles as possible. And usually that's some combination of a horizontal pull, horizontal push, vertical pull, some arms, and definitely the lateral head of the shoulders. And you might even get to see an abs exercise. So without further ado, let's crack on. But first, if you see someone with a bit of indigestion, please forgive me. It's Father's Day here in Ireland, and I'm just after coming back from a steak in a fine Italian restaurant here at home in Waterford City. Emiliano's restaurant, check it out. So, exercise number 1, we have the T-bar row. Most exercises, if you sound out the name, it nearly tells you what you have to do. So, T-bar. If you're in the gym, you need to be looking for a bar that resembles a T, and in this case, it's lowercase. And if you sound out what a row is, if you think about what a row looks like in a boat or a canoe or whatever the fuck you're rowing in, it's this motion. So you have to find a bar that's the shape of a T and do this motion. This is the exercise for you. It's a chest-supported T-bar row. So yet again, my chest has to be supported by a bar that resembles a T, and I have to do a rowing movement. Here we are. So usually what I do is I'm going for 40 kilos on my working set. So I usually warm up with about 50% of my working weight. So for all ye maths dunces out there, 50% of 40 is 20. So I have 20 kilos on the bar here. Now you might be wondering or asking, what are these funny flappy things on your hand, Shane? These are actually called bear grips, but you can use straps as well. When you're training your back, you want to be training your back muscles only. But I'm obviously grabbing onto this with my hands. So your hands and your forearms can get tired, and your hands and your grip strength might not be as strong as some of your back muscles. So it makes sense if you wear something that takes your grip completely out of the exercise, you might be able to train your back that little bit harder. And sure, isn't that what we're all after? So with the T-bar row, you can use your straps or your bear grips. I like the bear grips. I get the smaller man's version of these because I have skinny, tiny, weak wrists. Now with back training, it's all about elbows and angles. Okay, elbows and angles, that's what all about back training, as John Meadows once said, Mountain Dog 1 on YouTube. He's dead now, unfortunately. What a legend. So his whole thing was back training is all about elbows and angles. Now the reason I use bear grips is because they're a lot easier and a lot faster to get onto the handle than straps. So once you have your grip, just use your hands as hooks. All the hands are for hooks to hold onto the bear grip flap, okay? Unload, lead with the elbows. Once the elbows stop moving back on the back exercise, you don't have to shimmy your body to make it go any further. One big mistake I see is when people get back fully with the elbows, they flick the wrists. But none of your back muscles are attached to your wrists. So why do we flick them? So usually when I'm warming up with something that's 50% of my working weight, I will, if I'm aiming for 8 or 10 reps at my working weight, I'll get about 8 or 10 reps with 50% of the working weight. That gives me a chance to warm up my body with 10 repetitions of the movement I'm going to be doing further down the line. So that's my first set of T-bar row done. My last score was 40 kilos for 8 reps, and I think you've seen 10 or 11 reps there. Now, with the rowing motion, or any motion, you lead with the elbows. When the elbows stop coming back, you don't flick with the wrist, because none of these upper back muscles attach down onto your forearm or your hand. They attach onto the back of your upper arm. So once that upper arm gets back, you finish the movement, and you're at peak contraction. So there you have it, the T-bar row. Shaped like a T, lowercase, you're rowing the movement, so you're like one of these fellas rowing up the fucking Thames the Thames River, and it's chest supported. So if you don't know what an exercise is, sound it out, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So there you have the single arm pull down. Now the single arm pull down is getting a lot of shit on the internet at the moment. And the reason it's getting called out is a lot of people who are evidence-based would be people who are maybe a science background, an academic background, who may actually needed to learn evidence-based stuff because they were probably always getting injured or not able to make progress following some of the bro science. And then you have the pure strength guys who just like pick up something fucking heavy, row something heavy, pull your body up, pull something heavy downwards. That's all you need to know. You know, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I hate leaning on the fence, but the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Pull heavy shit, row heavy shit, but do it on exercises that maybe are biomechanically make better sense than others, are maybe safer than others, or that allow you to perform them with good form and not get injured. You know, both of these places can exist at the same time. So one kind of analogy I always say to it, like, why is Bulgarian split squats like the greatest of all time a unilateral exercise, even though it works both legs? And you have single arm pull down, and that's supposedly no good. It's for weak asses, it's for skinny people. You know, you're still operating with one limb at a time, and arguably using single limbs at a time for a pull down exercise is actually better, because my right lat's muscle fibers run in that way and my left lat's muscle fibers run in that way. Both of them can't pull or fully contract fully at the same time. You need to be able to dig into one side more while the other slightly lengthens. That will allow a fully contracted lat. So if you're using two hands all the time, you're not going to be able to get each side fully contracted. Is that a problem? Why would it be a problem? In the same way that doing a single leg Bulgarian split squat is not a problem to grow your legs. It's a non-existent argument, in my opinion. In the same way, if we're just talking about purely pull downs, if you can imagine the hammer strength pull down machine, where one handle's up here and one handle's up here, and it works isolaterally. You can do them single arm each side. What's the difference in doing a single arm hammer strength pull down on one of these sides that's isolateral and doing it on two sides at the one time? Does that make you more of a man because you're using two sides at the one time? Or is it the exact same thing? One side, two sides, one side? There is no difference. Now, here we have the high incline Smith machine press. So this squat rack on rails is a Smith machine. A high incline then refers to the angle of the bench. A high incline is an incline that's not fully vertical, which means fully straight up. So I've been stuck on 40 kilos for quite a while on the similar reps. And pressing is always one of those exercises that it's hard to keep getting PBs all the time. So what I've done here is I've warmed up with one set with the bar. I'm going to put 20 on it, which is 50% of the working weight. And I'm going to do maybe 8 reps. The reason I'm doing 8 reps this time with the 50% of the working weight is because I'm looking to get 8 reps with my 40 kilos. So I'm just trying to set up that mindset and pattern of getting 8 reps, just that I'll be going from 20 to 40. You can also see there that I took off the bear grips. And the reason why is because I don't have any other back exercises now on the workout, so I can free up my wrists. Now on this high incline Smith machine press, I use a thumbless grip or a false grip. And a thumbless grip then is just unwrap that thumb from around the bar. I find it gives you a little bit extra, I'm going to say mobility, I'm not even sure if it does. Just feels like you're a little bit freer in the wrist, shoulder and elbow than you are when your hand is locked around that bar. Now what I'm doing here is I'm getting my wrist set so that I'm pushing through the bone of my wrist and not the back of my hand. Set my shoulder blades in place. Lower the weight slowly, touch, dead stop, drive. Yeah, they moved all right now. Halfway through, I was like, I'm definitely getting a PB today. But the last 3 reps then started to go a little bit slower. So we'll see what this body will give me. And that's all you can really do, right? That's one thing I used to beat myself up a lot about when I was training. If I didn't hit a PB, giving out to my body, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? The body will give you what it'll give you, and that's it. If you can't do any more, you can't do any more. There's no point to going on about it about 2 hours after the training session. And I'm saying that from experience. Now, some people might wonder, how much does the bar weigh? Now, I put 40 kilos on the bar. This bar, to be honest with you, could be anywhere from 20 to 25 kilos. Only thing is, I don't track the weight of the bar. I actually just track what I put on the bar. So then what that does is eliminates the weight of the bar puzzle altogether. So whether it's 25, whether it's 20, it doesn't matter. I put on 40 kilos onto the Smith machine, and that's what I record. And it does feel like a heavier bar because there's obviously these inserts on it that are holding it there. It's a regular bar. It's a male-sized bar thickness, and there's these hooks on it as well. So I'll give it 25, but either way, 60 kilo shoulder press I'm going for. Matched my score. I came in here today promising myself I wouldn't be going to all-out failure. But as soon as there's a camera on me, I'm not going to look like an absolute fucking pussy. And I didn't want to get less than I got last week. Now, if you watch that last rep back, see how slow that bar was moving. I was trying to get that bar off me. I was trying to move it as fast as possible. But it wouldn't move as fast as possible. So there's an involuntary element to that exercise. And because it was slowing down, the actual practice you saw there was involuntary slowdown. And that is what you need to be looking for to know if you're training hard enough. Because if my muscles were still fresh, that bar would be moving up and down very fast. But because it was slowed down so much, almost to a grinding halt, I was coming very, very close to failure. Now, I wouldn't have been able to make another rep there. And I could have went for it because I had these safety pins on it. But I know that's really going to take it out of me for the next set. And I'm going to get worse than I got the week before. So I got 7 there. And on the next set, I got 5 last week. I'm going to try to get 6 this week. At least I can progress on the second set, even if I didn't progress on the first. Things aren't progressing the way I'd like them to be progressing today. Those 2 sets of shoulder press there really zapped my front delts. So I took them very, very, very close to failure. But coming straight over here afterwards then, you're using a lot of your front delts and your triceps, as well as your chest more so in this exercise, as opposed to your front delts, which is the front of your shoulder muscles, and your triceps are involved in pushing exercises. And to be quite honest with you, I'm feeling a little bit cooked in this session. I do think I need a bit of rest this week. I have a lower body session in for Tuesday. Today is Sunday. I'm going to do that lower body session, and I'm going to take a rest from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and crack into hopefully a new program for my photo shoot prep, which is probably about 16 to 20 weeks after next week. You always need to be keeping an eye on your fatigue levels. If you're not progressing in the gym, you might be doing either too much volume, or you might be not recovering, you might not be sleeping well, and you might be fannying around recording your gym session when you're supposed to be in the zone. That's another one for you. So what you're seeing there back to back in a superset is 2 exercises back to back. is a tricep extension with a long rope and a pin-loaded preacher curl. So in a tricep extension, to extend means to straighten. So in this exercise for the triceps, you have to be straightening that elbow fully. So when you're doing tricep extension, you don't want to be riding the weight. You don't want to be thinking you're doing fucking cross-country skiing. You want to have your arms pinned to your sides like you're a little T-Rex. And the only thing that moves then is the elbow joint, straight out and straight in. And a superset of that is a preacher curl. So a preacher curl usually means that when you're doing your bicep curls, your elbow is out in front of your body. And to whichever degree that the preacher curl machine is, will be the degree that your elbow is at. You're working the bicep in more of the shortened range. Now, to fully shorten the bicep, you probably see things like archer curls or something like that. But this is more or less to work the biceps in the shortened range. On my next bicep exercise, which you will see in a few minutes, I'll be working my bicep when my elbow is back behind my body, which puts the shoulder in an extended position, which is stretching the bicep, and then you bend up through the elbow in what's called an incline curl. So you can see with my programs, they're well thought out. The shortened range is the most easily fatigued range. So you train that first, and then when you have some juice left in the system, train the lengthened range to fully exhaust that bicep. And if you want to go one step further, train in mid-range last. So shortened range, lengthened range. Mid-range is when your hand is down beside your body, like a regular bicep curl. There's a nice tricep for you. Preacher curl, incline curl, standing dumbbell curls. Oh. Woo. So you can see the difference there in the incline dumbbell curl and the machine preacher curl. In the machine preacher curl, my hands are out like this. In the incline curl, my hands are back like this. And it's a bend through the elbow. Woo! There you go, pec deck. So the pec deck is probably a cable fly, a dumbbell fly, a pec deck machine, probably the only exercise out there to properly isolate the chest muscles. So with the shoulder press, with the chest press, you have involvement from the front delt all the time, which is the front head of the shoulder. On a chest press, you have more chest. On a shoulder press, you have more front delt, but you'll still be involving some upper chest fibers, and you'll be involving the triceps because you're pushing. Any pushing muscles have tricep, chest, and shoulder involvement. But with the pec fly, as you can imagine, the hands are out here. The tricep is not extending to straighten on this exercise. It's actually nearly somewhat of a bicep, an assisted bicep exercise, because you're isolating the chest, but you have a small little bend in the elbow. And when there's a bend in the elbow, the bicep is flexed, and you're attempting to drive the biceps across the front of the body. And you can see my chest puffed up there in the middle. Now, obviously, my hands don't join up like that. What you're trying to do is sweep out, touch, sweep in. Obviously, you can't go past your body. When you do go past your body, that's a fully shortened pec. But you can't go like this on this side and like this on this side on this particular machine. Now, you can do it on a cable crossover, but how short are you getting when you're doing both sides at the one time? I don't know. So that's me chest completely cooked using a pressing motion and using a fly motion. The only thing there I could do maybe to make it that little bit more complete is maybe to use dumbbells. Now, that machine I used over there does converge, which means brings the hands towards midline, which you can see the chest puffed up big time there. But with the dumbbells, you have an element of free weights where you need extra stability, and you can get more of an arc motion and more of a converge motion with the dumbbell. So you might do a dumbbell exercise first because it's more technically difficult. When you're a small bit fatigued, the stabilizer muscles are fatigued, you might move on to a machine where it's kind of safe to fail. When you finish that, then you might isolate the chest completely and do a cable fly. I know a lot of you guys out there love to do your chest. I've been blessed with a good chest. It's not exactly, I've been blessed genetically with a good chest. I'm not going to bullshit you about that. Whereas some lads can't feel their chest working at all. If that's you, I suggest doing dumbbells first, machine second, and then fly last. And a more stabilized fly might be better for you than a cable, because there's that element of fucking wobbliness with the cables. Now, with this second last exercise, it's the single arm behind the back cable lateral raise. Now, I have the cable set up where that when I have the cable wire out fully, it's splitting my leg in the middle from my knee to my hip, okay? So what's going to happen here is that this exercise is going to be hardest when my hand is down by my side, because when the cable is at 90 degrees to the working joint, so you have the shoulder here, wrist here, cable here, when it's about 90 degrees, the exercise is hardest. So the exercise here is hardest in the bottom. Now, I'm strongest in the bottom, and it's hardest in the bottom. So I'm going to be able to recruit a lot of muscle fibers to do this exercise because I'm strong where it's hard, and when it gets easier, I get weaker. So what we're doing is we're matching my strength profile with the machine's resistance profile. So if I had this all the way down the bottom, this would give me a different resistance profile because the exercise will be probably hardest about here, whereas it's hardest down here, and I am strong as fuck down here when my arm is next to my body. So that's why I have the cable machine running across so that it splits my leg in the middle. Sometimes I have it down a bit lower when I want to change up the exercise, but ever so slightly. So keep an eye on this. The exercise is hardest here. It's easiest here, but I'm weakest here. I'm getting stronger, the exercise is getting harder. Squeeze the shoulder to move the weight. "15. I started with my weaker side, I got 15. So hopefully my stronger side will give me 15 as well. And if it gives me more than that, I'm going to stop on 15, and I'm going to keep trying to get better improvements with my weaker side. Because as I said on the last video, there's a reason why your weaker side won't give you as much power as you want it to. And the reason could be that the joint doesn't feel stable. So your body downregulates the power it receives to that muscle, so it doesn't tear the joint off the bone. So there you have the single arm behind the back cable lateral. Lateral raises should be in your program, regardless if you're male or female, because the lateral raise works the lateral head of the shoulder, or the shoulder on the outside of the body. Lateral means at the other opposite end of medial, which is the middle. Lateral means to the side. But if you see me now, my shoulders will be pumped, and I'll give that capped appearance. It already has a cap, but not that big. And when someone looks at you visually, their eyesight, they're not consciously doing this, but their eyes are getting drawn out to how wide your shoulders are and how narrow your waist is. So if you have wide shoulders, objectively wide shoulders, and a narrower waist, you are going to look like an upside down triangle. And you're going to be in what's called good shape, where someone's going to say, Jesus, that person's stocky or whatever. So regardless if you're a woman or a man, you still want to have those capped shoulders, because you don't want to look like you have no shoulders, or you look like a square, like I once looked like. And my girlfriend to this day still calls me a square because of how I looked. Narrow shoulders, narrow shoulder blades or collarbones, and my shoulders are nearly as wide as my hips. You don't want to be there, man or woman. So get on the lateral raises fast. Spam the life out of them. Now, so there you have it. my gaining phase upper body day. What you seen last year was the cable crunch. It's only a new exercise for me to be doing. As I said on the last video, I kind of shied away from doing ab exercises because I was no good at them, wasn't really skillful at them. But that's not the approach to take in anything in life. So I'm just getting used to these now at the start. So if you look at them and you say, oh Jesus, he's doing this X, Y, wrong, whatever. I'm just like you as well in certain exercises. I'm just a beginner. I even classify myself as a beginner in this field, regardless of how many years and how much study and professional and personal practice I put in. But with the cable crunch, what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring your sternum here, which is your breastbone, closer to your pelvis in like kind of like a bending motion. Because if you do a folding motion where you don't bring your torso towards the pelvis like this, you will be using your hip flexors. And on one of those reps, I actually felt my hip flexor firing up. And I said to myself, when I was studying this exercise to do it properly, I seen a video that said, if you feel your hip flexors in any way, you're folding, you're not crunching. And I changed things up and I done a pretty good set. So there you have it, that's the upper body day done. First off, T-bar row, second, single arm pull down, third, high incline Smith machine press, Cybex chest press, tricep extension, preacher curl superset, incline curls, machine fly, behind the back, single arm cable lateral raise, and cable ab crunch. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and please like and share the video with anyone you think will benefit from it. I also have a link down below to my free school community where I have education resources there for you if you're looking to learn a bit more about training. And if you're on Instagram and TikTok, my name is @Shane_Russell_coaching. If you're on those platforms, add me on there as well and drop me a DM, give me a shout. Thanks for watching.